Greetings, Bobcats. This is your interim principal, Mr. Adams here.
And Ms. Infantino, your counselor. Hope everybody's doing well.
And we are here to talk to you guys about crisis resources and suicide awareness and prevention, since we have just concluded Suicide Prevention Month in September.
So the first question is, what are you going to learn today? So a couple things. We're going to talk about how you can tell if you yourself or a friend might need to get some help for any suicidal thoughts or behaviors that are concerning to you. And also how to get a trusted adult, how to find somebody that is you can go to get the help that you need. As we do this presentation, we want you to know that while we're in distance learning, things do look a little bit different, but your counselors, your interim assistant, your interim principal, assistant principal, we are all here to help you no matter what you need. So please rely on us.
Here are some crisis resources. Many of these can be found on the back of your student ID card for your 8th graders. 7th graders, we're still working on ID cards, so stay tuned. As you'll see, there's the crisis text line, the suicide prevention lifeline, and a number of other resources, both local and community-based. Please don't hesitate to use these, and as Ms. Infantino mentioned earlier, please know a trusted adult, which we'll talk about more soon.
So who is your trusted adult? A trusted adult here at school can be anyone who you feel like you can go to that would have your back in a crisis. It can be one of your counselors, a teacher, administrators. We also have a school psychologist, a school social worker here. Also, we have your coaches that you might work with. You can also ask a friend. Let's say you don't have a trusted adult. You can ask a friend who their trusted adult is, and they can share you with them, and you can both go to help together. My wish for you is that everybody does find a trusted adult. Hopefully most of you have some trusted adults outside of campus as well, and definitely that could be your parents, could be a family member or a family friend, anyone you feel comfortable going to when things are not going well.
Please keep in mind for distance learning as well, since you're not seeing your teachers as much on campus, continue to establish and identify trusted adults in your home environment as well. Let's take a minute to talk about protective factors. These are the things that, when they are present in your life, will reduce the risk of suicide and harmful thoughts. Again, protective factors are personal or environmental characteristics that help protect people from suicide. Some of the big ones are positive school experiences, feeling part of your school community, having a safe environment both physically and emotionally, a sense of connectedness to school, and respect for the cultures of all students. So please know, as you've noticed some of the activities from our front office, ASB, and PTA, we're very much trying to keep students connected during distance learning, as we know that feeling connected to your school and community is a really good way to keep safe.
Okay, here's some more protective factors that you also want to consider. What tools are in your toolbox for life skills? What do I mean by that? How are you able to be resilient? How well do you bounce back from adversity? If you don't get the part in the play you wanted or the math score that you thought you should get, how are you able to cope with that? What tools are there? Also, science and research tells us that family support is also super important in preventing suicide, as is access to healthcare and mental health care, because if you have adequate access to healthcare and mental health care, you can prevent smaller problems from growing into larger ones.
Now let's talk about risk factors. These are factors that, when present in your life, may increase your risk to suicide. Some are depression, substance abuse, or aggressive or risky behavior, low stress tolerance, impulsivity, or ongoing feelings of hopelessness, stressful circumstances such as abuse, exposure to suicide, or bullying. There could be mental health issues at home, you've lost a family member, or you don't have access to the help you need, or exposure to discrimination, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, disability, or physical characteristics. Now, please know these risk factors can vary across groups. They can not only vary across groups, but culture, gender, and other characteristics. Some other examples of stress resulting from prejudice and discrimination, including family rejection, bullying, or violence, is known as a risk factor for suicide attempts. So please know if any of these are prevalent in your life or you're experiencing them, please find a trusted adult to communicate with.
Okay, I think it's important that we talk about what is stress versus distress. How many times in the last 3 weeks have you said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out right now"? Pretty much that's everyone. So stress is a very common part of all our lives and you will experience it and it's what we do with it. Some of the stress is good stress. It keeps us on our toes. It makes us want to study for our tests so we can do well. It makes us want to practice so we can play well in a game. That's good stress. It's when the stress turns to distress and we have those negative feelings, the anger, the frustration, the irritability all the time, and we just can't seem to shake it, can't seem to let go of it, and it causes us to change our actions in other parts of life. That's when we know it's a problem, and that's when you need to get help for yourself or a friend by contacting your counselor or another trusted adult.
So remember, like Ms. Infantino said, everyone experiences stress. It is perfectly normal and at times healthy. It's when we're not able to manage that stress or it's occurring for long periods of time when we are experiencing distress. And that's when you definitely need some help. Okay, as far as knowing when to need help, here are some other warning signs. When to get help for yourself or a friend. If you're hearing themes regarding this topic in conversations, writings, or drawings, please tell an adult. If you or yourself or a friend threats to harm someone else or yourself, both verbal or written, please tell an adult. If you notice a friend giving away possessions or isolating themselves, acting differently than normal, maybe they're more anxious or impulsive or irritable. Maybe they've lost interest in things that they used to like, such as hobbies or spending time with friends. Or maybe you've noticed a drastic change in your own mood or appearance. Again, be sensitive to these things, and if you see them occurring with yourself or a friend, please speak up.
I think too, it's important to keep all of those in context. If your friend chooses to give you a present, does that mean they're suicidal? Absolutely not. But taken in context with some of the other warning factors, that's when you should raise that little red flag and be like, I better check this out. Okay, so please remember, when in doubt, check it out. So, what can you do to help a friend? First of all, the biggest, most important thing is don't make any deals or promises to keep secrets that you can't or should not keep. Okay, if a friend came to you and showed you that they had a broken leg and the bone was sticking out of it, and they're like, it really hurts a lot, but don't tell anybody. Would you keep that promise? Of course not. You're going to want to go get them help. When someone's emotions and their heart is hurting, you don't want to keep that a secret, just like you would in any other condition. So please make sure that you are being able to tell that adult you're being a better friend to that person by not keeping that secret. Okay? Again, the good news about suicide, if there is any, is that we can prevent it by working together and not keeping secrets.
So to reemphasize this, please don't keep a secret or don't promise to keep a secret if you feel like your friend's safety is at risk. Telling a trusted adult can save a life. Be an upstander. Take actions to reduce bullying and increase positive connections. Never leave the person alone and seek out a trusted adult immediately. The big one we often encounter is worrying that your friend will be mad at you if they confided a secret in you that might be unsafe, but have begged you not to tell anyone. Please think about what the repercussions could be if you don't tell a trusted adult. It's okay if your friend is mad at you in the beginning, but they will thank you in the end.
So we wanted to make sure that you all knew the resources that you have here at CVMS. You have Miss Mert if your last name starts with A through F. You have myself if your last name starts with G through Z. You have Mrs. Ericol, who is here on Wednesday. She's our student support specialist. Your administrators, Mr. Adams and Mr. Bishop, and Mrs. Kim when she comes back from maternity leave. Many of you haven't even met her yet, but when she returns here, she will definitely be a trusted adult. You also have your teachers and all our CVMS office staff that are here and willing to help you deal with whatever you need to deal with.
And please remember, use some time after this presentation to talk with your teachers. Anything in these presentation slides, your teachers are equipped to discuss with you. Anything more significant or personal in nature, please reach out directly to myself, Ms. Infantino, or Ms. Mert. Again, thanks for listening, Bobcat.